Here is John 19 verses 13 to 19 from the English Standard Version, ESV. 13 So when Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judgment seat at a place called the Stone Pavement, and in Aramaic Gabbatha. 14 Now it was the day of preparation of the Passover. It was about the 6th hour. He said to the Jews, Behold your king. 15 They cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We have no king but Caesar. 16 So he delivered him over to them to be crucified. So they took Jesus. 17 And he went out, bearing his own cross, to the place called the place of a skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. 18 There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side, and Jesus between them. 19 Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It read, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Expounding on the text. In this passage, we see Jesus being presented by Pontius Pilate to the crowd after being flogged. Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, is caught in a situation where he is forced to make a choice regarding Jesus, whom he finds innocent of the charges brought against him. However, under pressure from the Jewish leaders and the crowd, he reluctantly hands Jesus over to be crucified. Verse 13, Jesus is brought out before the crowd, and Pilate takes his seat at the stone pavement, indicating that a formal judgment is about to be pronounced. Pilate is hesitant and conflicted. He has not found any fault in Jesus. Verse 14, Pilate declares, Behold your king. This is significant as it is the day of preparation of the Passover, a holy time for the Jews. By presenting Jesus as king, Pilate is sarcastically and reluctantly acknowledging the claims of his royal, messianic lineage but is also trying to absolve himself from the act he is about to commit. Verse 15, The crowd's hostility is evident in their cry to crucify Jesus. They completely reject him as their king, a rejection of Jesus' authority and identity as the Messiah. The chief priests' assertion that they have no king but Caesar is ironic and tragic, given that they are rejecting God's chosen king. Verse 16 to 17, Pilate surrenders Jesus to the will of the crowd to be crucified. Jesus bears his own cross, an instrument of brutal execution, to Golgotha. This is symbolic of Jesus taking on the sins of the world and is a foreshadowing of the sacrifice he is about to make. Verse 18, Jesus is crucified between 2 others, fulfilling prophecies and emphasizing the humiliating and brutal nature of his death. Verse 19, Pilate places an inscription on the cross that reads, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This act is a final, ironic declaration of Jesus' kingship. Even in death, the claim of Jesus' royal identity is proclaimed, albeit in a manner meant to be mocking and derisive. Theological implications. The rejection of Jesus by his own people underscores the depth of human sin and the need for a savior. Pilate's ambivalence highlights the moral complexity of the situation, illustrating the tension between human authority and divine authority. The crucifixion is the climax of Jesus' earthly ministry. Through this sacrificial act, Christians believe that salvation and reconciliation with God are made available to all who believe in Jesus. Even in this moment of apparent defeat, the inscription on the cross proclaims Jesus' kingship, foreshadowing the resurrection and the establishment of his eternal kingdom. This passage is rich with theological and moral implications and has been a subject of reflection, analysis, and devotion for Christians around the world.